All right, welcome back, Weather Kingdom. How is everybody doing on this very cold morning? I know we have been dealing with some very cold weather. We have a lot to talk about here in this one. We have quite a bit to talk about. We got some winter weather to deal with. We got a lot to deal with, to be honest with you, but we'll figure that out. Give me 1 second. We should have started this live. One moment. We should be live here. I hope everybody's doing well on this very fine afternoon. Oh, wow. Look at this. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well right now. Hello. So this is the latest on this winter storm. We got a lot to talk about here. We are kind of setting up the picture here of this Arctic air. This has continued to funnel down here into the central and eastern United States. We have a lot to, take place in here. We got very cold air damming situated right here. This is really setting up into a monster snowstorm right now. I have to say, this is some impressive development out of this winter storm. We're really seeing the evolvement of the storm, and eventually we should get a low pressure center to kind of ride the East Coast here and continue to intensify and then move out here. So this is the path of the system on that department, and then our other low pressure will kind of come in through here. All right, there you guys go. All right. All right, we're just waiting on some stuff here. Welcome. How's everybody doing? We're just waiting on a few people here. We're just waiting on the numbers to kind of go up. We have a lot to talk about in this one, and I am looking forward for it. So just give me kind of 1 second, or in just a few, we are going to be posting this on Twitter and posting this onto the YouTube channel. Also, we have just a lot to take place here. And then let me just do this here. Okay. One second. All right, welcome back, everybody, into today's live stream. We getting some things done here. All right, so this is my snowfall forecast map for Saturday. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the snowfall map. I've been kind of updating it this morning, adding a little bit differences. If you guys been watching the last couple of days, I've been kind of giving a forecast map, and now I got a one for Saturday morning. I'm probably going to update this tonight, depending on if we get any new information. But I do want to start out here in aspects on some stuff where I think the best is going to be. So you're going to have to give me just a few seconds here. We're trying to get some more people engaged. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, share this live stream. Let's get as many people here. We're going to be live for the next couple hours on this, probably next 2 to 3 hours. So it'd be really nice to get some more people engaged with the weather. And then all right. Any questions? Alright. Let's do that. We're going to get this on this. Alright, so dun 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 dun. Alright, let's go here, and then we go dun 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 bum bum bum. YouTube is building dun 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 bum bum bum. Alright, we're just getting some things all situated here before we continue. Dun 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 is the frozen of the heart of no. Alright, let's start talking here. We got a lot to talk about. So, if you guys are in the snowfall map, this is my snowfall map here. We're going to start out in Texas. I do think in New Mexico, we are going to be expecting some parts of Texas, northern Oklahoma, about midway. I do think we're going to be generally talking about a coating to 1 to 3 inches in the lightest blue. This goes into Kansas City. This goes into Montana, Minnesota, or Arkansas, Mississippi. Just on the northern fringe of Mississippi, I'm not expecting too much there. I'm expecting more of an ice event. And then I do think into about midway of Tennessee, 1 inch in the lightest blue here. I have turned this up a little bit and brought down some of the totals. I do think in North Carolina, only 1 inch now. I'm not expecting 1 to 3. I think we have pushed it up a little bit. I'm expecting more of a mixing issue with ice and freezing rain. I do think North Carolina, you can get a quick burst of snow, 1 inch, maybe 2 if you're lucky. I think the further north you go will be the better. Like in northern North Carolina, northern Tennessee, I'm expecting a 1 to 3 inch. And then 3 to 6 inches in the other shading of blue here. This goes in Illinois. This goes into Ohio. This goes right into Kansas City, Oklahoma. I'm expecting a 3 to 6 inch event there. And then I do have a 6 to 10 in the darkest blue here. This goes back into New Mexico, northern Texas, into Oklahoma. I'm expecting 6 to 10 inches. We do have some data here that I can actually show you guys. So actually, just let me quickly go back here. We're going to take it back here. I'm going to get the snowfall map here. Just give me 1 second. I'm getting the map here. Can everybody hear me? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me perfectly fine here. All right. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. That would be awesome there. I'm quickly just getting a link that I would like to show you guys. Okay, this is actually pretty important here. We're already starting to get some good totals popping up in here. So, like I said, in Texas, so far you guys are dealing with some snow now. Maybe it's a little bit less back in New Mexico. I'm not seeing too much reports, maybe 2-3 inches. But I think back in Oklahoma, we're really starting to now deal with some 7-inch. We have even a cluster of 6 to 7 inches, almost even 8 inches here. Most of these reports around 4 to about 6 inches of snow now into the Oklahoma area, into northern Arkansas, and then back to the north near Kansas City. A lot of 6, 7-inch reports so far. Kansas City around 1 inch. We're going to continue to see this winter storm really play out. And then even back in the Colorado Plains up to 9, 11, and 8-inch highest mark. So that's going to be very important. These are snowfall that has fallen. I'm expecting this to get much more dramatic here in the next little bit. So maybe if I had to push it here, I probably would actually kind of delete that 3 to 6. So let me show you what I would actually do. If it was me and I was doing here, I would kind of push this back. So let's go into the lightest blue. We're going to actually push some of these numbers back here. I forgot to, so why not? So I think I do think in here is yeah, so I think right in here I'm expecting that 1 inch, and then I think in the next blue, I should have waited a little bit. I think in the next blue, alright, so I think that's some pretty good numbers here. I think this is 1 to 2. Let me quickly fix that here. 1 to 2. I think I can duplicate this quite a bit. I think we can move that there and that there. I think these totals can come down a little bit. I think 2 to 4 inches in this region here. I think that's good. I think right here is 2 to 4. And then I would say this is, yeah, 6 to 10. I think 6 to 10 is pretty good around here. I think that's a very good call here. If you guys are in these areas, in the viewing area, I do believe 2 to 4. I've came down a little bit with these totals, but it's something to really watch out here for. So, okay. We are continuing to update the snowfall map while I'm live streaming. I do see 6 to 10 inches here, and then I think 3 to 6 through here. And then I think in the darkest blue is that 6 to 10 inch amounts back in Oklahoma, Texas. This actually, I've done some major work up into the Northeast here. I went with a 1 inch in North Carolina, and then now I've actually pushed that 1 to 3 all the way into West Virginia, and then we now have only 3 to 6 inches in this other shading of blue here. This used to actually be 6 to 10. I've actually pushed this all the way up into almost Washington, D.C. I wouldn't even be surprised. I can kind of push it up just a little bit more. I think Washington, D.C. is a 6 to 10 inch. I don't think we're going to hit a 4 foot. Even in Philadelphia, I don't think a foot. I think a solid 8, 9 inches in Philadelphia. And then just north of Philly, I think we're going to get that 10 to 15. I think 10 to 15 inches in the red right here. And then in the darkest red, 15 plus inches. And I think that's going to be actually north of the Mount Pocono. I think that's going to be in Mount Pocono on northern. And in central Pennsylvania, 15 plus inches with my latest information. If I had to make an ice amount, it would be very interesting. We'll continue to take a look at that. And then back into New Jersey, 10 to 15 inches. Northern New Jersey, 15 plus inches. And then back into the New England area, I do think 20 plus inches is possible with the latest data I am finding. So keep that in mind. Some stuff there to keep an eye out on. Alright, so let me keep working here. So we got 5 people here. Let's get a few more people engaged. We are kind of showing my snowfall map that I do not forget. As more people join, we'll continue to show the snowfall map. This is the area. I think Philadelphia, I think in southern New Jersey is that 6 to 10 inch. And I think 10 to 15 inches here. I can go even 12 to 16. But I like to go like this. I think this is considered, I think this is a good call here. With the latest model data, there's a lot of model data we have to take away here. I have to show you pretty much every possible solution that I really can. So let me go into RGEM. I haven't looked at the model, this RGEM model. It's a really good model. They haven't done anything with it. I don't know why they haven't updated the RGEM model. Let me quickly do this. And then let me go into RGEM. Nope, not even. Okay, so some of the model data is not working right now. That's what it's looking like. So that's going to not be the best. So we're going to start out the herd here. And we're going to kind of move in through the Texas area. So this is in Texas. I do think we're going to continue to develop this winter storm. This is the first round here. This is part 1 of the system. Part 2 is still back in here when I was looking at the satellite imagery. And I do think as tonight goes into tonight and later this afternoon, this continues to evolve. And then we do get the northern branch and the southern branch. So number 2 here and number 1 now becomes one piece of energy. And all in this pink here, this is freezing rain. And some of this freezing rain is going to be very heavy freezing rain. And I think 1 inch is possible of freezing rain. That's really devastating. And I think this is going to continue throughout tonight into tomorrow. And I think some spots are going to be talking about some very, very heavy totals of freezing rain. And then we continue to see this go into the Louisiana, where this is going to accumulate the most. And then that snow for northern Oklahoma. Some gusty winds here too. I want to keep an eye on the winds here. We're gonna have some gusty winds here. We're gonna have 15 to 20 mile an hour winds with gusts up to 25 miles an hour with critical freezing rain accumulations. When we take a real look at this, this is truly remarkable here. Back all in Texas, a scattered up to 1/4 of an inch to 3/10 of an inch. And then in some of these heavier spots where it freeze rains the most, we could be talking about almost a 1/2 an inch of freezing rain. Up to maybe even further, maybe even more than a 1/2 an inch of freezing rain. And then in some of these spots here, almost an inch of freezing rain. We even see some of these numbers up to 1 inch back into Texas. We do have ice storm warnings, winter storm warnings for major ice concerns. Southern Oklahoma, I do see up to maybe, some spots up to 1 inch. I think this is maybe a little bit overdone here, but this ice is really possible. Up to maybe 2 to 3 inches of freezing rain, you guys. This would be absolutely catastrophic freezing rain. This goes into Louisiana. This goes into Mississippi. This goes into Alabama even. I mean, some really critical freezing rain, you guys, for sure. Total snowfall here out of the Courage, mostly northern Texas, back into the New Mexico area, into Texas, a solid, 3 to 6 inches of snow. And then back in Oklahoma, I actually could have probably pushed this a little bit more south in the Oklahoma region. Let me look here. No, I did pretty good. I think I did pretty good. Yeah. Maybe it's a little bit farther south. I will push it. But for the most part, hello, Dark Steven 666. Hey, Weather Kingdom, add me to your live stream. I can help you stream right now. Okay. So, yes, sounds good. All right, give me a few minutes. If we're gonna get some audience onto the stream, I'm gonna like to take a look here of, we're gonna leave the satellite on. I need to see if I can even make this work. Whew. Let's see. So I hope everybody's doing good. We are going to be live here for the next couple hours. We're going to be watching this stream. We're going to be taking live coverage, especially back in the Texas region where the storm is going to be developing, and then into the Northeast in the next coming hours. So just give me a few minutes. Thank you. Alright, so we should be here good. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? So we should be here good. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I can hear myself, so we are good there. Let's get out of here. We're going to be adding some people to the stream here, so just give me one moment, everybody. We're going to have our lovely person here to join the stream here. Hey, can you hear me? Alright, just give me 1 second. I need to make sure things are all working out. No, you're good. Alright. I want to see if they can hear your voice on the stream. I don't know. Because I haven't done this in a hot minute. Hey, can you hear me? Alright, just give me 1 second. I need to make sure things are all working out. No, you're good. Alright, so no, you guys cannot hear him. Okay. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I need to now figure this out without ruining anything. They cannot right now. Shoot. This is gonna be annoying, but we'll make it work. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna see what I can do here. Alright. Settings. Advanced properties. Okay. Alright. Just give me 1 second, everybody. I am trying to figure this out right now. I would really appreciate everything. Alright, so let me quickly do this. We're going to get this all fixed up right now. Alright. Okay, give me 1 second, everybody. I am trying to figure this out. We are currently being live here on this YouTube channel. We are watching this storm take place, so give me 1 second. Alright, so we were talking about this, about the snowfall in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. I mean, this is a very large, impactful snowstorm. I do think this is going to continue to bring major impacts here into... Alright, so let's get into here. We're going to look at the precipitation type. This kind of comes out through here. When we take a look at the ending of the storm here, when we take a look at the HRRR model, let's take a look at the 12Z here. We're going to take a look down here. We're going to really take a look at some of these areas. So this is was around 8 o'clock in the morning. We continued through 1 o'clock. This is kind of what the radar looks like right now. Even a little bit more snow. I do expect the radar to really fill in by 10 o'clock tonight with some major freezing rain. And this continues into tomorrow morning with some very big, dangerous problems. It's still going to be freezing rain. We're expecting the most amount of freezing rain around 11 in the morning tomorrow. So over a 24-hour snow event and ice event. This is going to be some very big issues. When we take a look at the temperatures also, it's not like the temperatures are really warm. These temperatures where it's snowing is in the single digits to even colder. Alright, so when we're taking a look at the temperatures here, everybody, we're taking a look at the Oklahoma area, Texas area. I am expecting, Arkansas, northern Tennessee, where this ice is really going to accumulate as we keep looking at the temperatures. These temperatures are actually going to get colder in spots, and these temperatures are going to continue to drop. And as tomorrow morning we wake up, a lot of these ice storm areas are really going to be talking about some single digits to even the teens. And then into Monday, we're expecting some very cold air into the negatives and single digits, okay? So when we're taking a look now, let's take a little bit more of a look into the Midwest. I know we talked a little bit about the Midwest. In Evansville, Indiana, we do expect some very heavy snow back in Ohio, Chicago. And when we really take a look at some of these snowfall accumulations, most of these areas in Ohio are going to receive, up to 8 to 10 inches. Some spots down here up to maybe 15 inches. Wouldn't be surprising. Chicago could get 1 to 3 inches out of this. Just south of Chicago, maybe 3 to 5 inches here, and then potentially. All right, so, Dun, 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 dun. So this is Highway Normie. Oh, look at that! Driving in snow is very dangerous. Look what happens. That is some ice right there, you guys. With the bus really trying, and then right here with the truck. Oh, look at some of these videos coming out of the mountains here. Some major pileups, some major trucks on Twitter being shown, and then look at this, you guys. In some of these counties here, that actually might be in the mountains here in some of the lake effect. But here's the map here. 13, the potential. Okay, this is a little bit. Here's my final snowfall forecast, including sleet. So that's very important right there. And then, ooh, do it all over again. Can't disagree. So this is, this was in my back door because of the sleet. It's piling up so high, it's coming down off the roof, forming a huge pile west, Little Rock. Look at this sleet here, you guys. This is some very intense sleet that's being shown onto the door here that's falling off from the roof. Some intense sleet. Keep this in mind. A lot of issues going forward into the storms. Okay, this is sleet up to Boston. It's so over the Northeast. That's not true. It's really not at all. So keep that in mind. When we're really taking a look at this here, into the COD, when we take a look into the Northeast, this is the latest on the model data here. We do see snow coming in, freezing rain to the south, some very heavy snow taking place into the Northeast. But when we're looking at, I want to take a look at the pivotal weather, because I know pivotal weather with the Euro model is going to be very important data. I really want to see how far does that ice come up in the Northeast, because we have seen some trends with that thumping of snow here. This is the Euro going into tonight around midnight, and then this is throughout tomorrow morning here on the latest and newest Euro. We got our heaviest snow sitting just south of here in that frontal end. This is probably 1 to 3 inches an hour rates right here, down just south of Philadelphia into Washington, D.C. Up here probably about 0.5 to about 1 inch an hour, potentially in some of these bands, probably close to that 1 inch. I don't see Boston getting sleet. I don't see it either. I really don't, but this is some of these areas where I do believe where we're going to be talking about some of the most snow. As we keep going into the data here, this is about 24 hours. We go into the next frame. Look at what happens here with the latest Euro. This band really develops very nice here, and this is our freezing rain. This is probably about mid-morning to early afternoon. This is about 2 to 4 inches potentially an hour here of rates. This would be about right in this heaviest banding right here. Look at that. Right into this area is about 2 to 4 inches an hour. I do believe on the European. Okay. This is about 2 to 4 inches. This is about 1 to 2 inches an hour going right into these regions here. I'm kind of drawing it in right in here. And then this is about 0.5 inches an hour up here. And then this is about 1 inch an hour rates. Okay. So some very, very heavy snow. And I mean, this really goes right into central PA. There's going to be some very interesting data here. And then this is by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. We do see that freezing rain line get into about central New Jersey, New York City, Philadelphia now. I mean, some of this could be even some very heavy freezing rain. Your snow just to the north, but look at that, you guys, just to the south. There's some wintry mix to a freezing rain. Back into these regions here. Very impressive on the European model. I mean, look, we start to get our coastal low to develop here. I really want to keep this in mind here. We start to get our coastal low to develop. We're getting, some gustier winds, 30-mile-an-hour winds into the shoreline here, okay? And then this is going into Long Island. And this is setting up a nose pocket of freezing rain. This is going to be some very intense freezing rain. So how far does that get to the north is really going to be dependable, and how far south is going to be some major news. And then as we can continue to go through over the hours, this storm actually starts to move out. The leftovers are in New England. And then this storm is nearly all the way out by Monday morning. And that's the story she wrote. Okay. Your total snowfall on the this is 10-to-1 ratios. I would take a grain of salt of this. This is going to be a little bit higher in some spots, but a little bit less. But when we're taking a look at your bullseye, this goes from Boston, southern Massachusetts, right into upstate New York, into Pennsylvania. You see this being like your bullseye for that potentially highest total amount. But just to the south here, and you mean 7 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches, this is going to be a little bit higher, probably closer to 9, 10. Some of these numbers a little bit more bumped up with your ratios. So I would like you guys to keep that in mind, okay? When we take a look at the NAM, I'm really going to not take a look at this for precip, but I want to take a look at this for your frontal genesis. If you guys do not know what frontal genesis is, this is how fast, how different the temperatures are up in the 850 millibars, 750 millibars, and if they're both stacked, you're talking about 6 inches an hour rates. But this is not going to get up to 6 inches an hour rates, but I do expect going into tonight, into tomorrow, we're going to really start to develop this into the afternoon. And then look at this. So this is about 9, 10, 11, 12. We're still dealing with some of the dry pocket. Do you think school closures for New Jersey Monday? Yes. I do think many areas will be talking about closed schools on Monday. I even think Tuesday, many spots are going to be very closed because of the cold, the wind, the driven. I do think we're going to have at least 2 days off from school across many areas, across the Northeast and South. We do see this continue to shape up throughout tonight. The divergence here down to the south where the snow is going to be taking over into North Carolina. This is, like I said, the 1 to 2 inches an hour rates. This is now by 2 in the morning. We're starting to now enter your snow bands, entering up into, hey, Weather Kingdom, refresh your speaker in your stream to get. All right, so one. Alright, I text you on Discord on why you should have gotten that. But this is the frontal genesis, everybody. This is going to be very important here. Okay, so how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. If you have any more questions, feel free. I'm going to be here for the next couple hours. We're going to be watching the stream take place. And then this is about 2 a.m. Once we get to 5 a.m., we have a lot of frontal genesis going on just to the south here. This is when the snow is really breaking out. We even have some on the northern side. The brighter these red colors are, the heavier your snow bands are going to set up. And places like that, are you going to release a snow map? Yes, I actually do have a... Yes. Yes. I can show you. One moment. Alright, one moment. Alright. As we continue, this is through 5 a.m. And then let's take a look into the afternoon here. This continues to develop into the later afternoon. This is some really influenced divergence band. The precip rates are going to be off the charts here. Very crazy, and it will not end probably until Monday morning. There's going to be some very intense at the 850 millibars on the NAM model. When we take a look at the 700 millibar, we do expect these to take place about 5 in the morning. We do expect these to actually form. And this is by 9 in the morning here. I do expect some pretty intense banding and a pretty heavy thumping of snow. Hey, Weather Came, I'm working on a snow map. Nice. Okay, so when you're done with your snowfall map, you can share it to the stream. I can you can send it to me and I can kind of show everybody the snowfall map there. And then we do see the snowfall goes into 1, 2 o'clock. I mean, this is going to be some very intense banding here at the 700 millibars. I mean, look at this. Very strong thumping. And this is going to continue throughout the evening and afternoon, and even another band through here around 10 o'clock at night. That's going to be really setting up some very good divergence bands, 2 to 4 inches an hour, very likely, and then that snow continues to move on. The latest of the snow, we also have the HER model. Let's stay in here. This is the 17Z is coming out. This is 12Z, and then this is the snowfall map. So this is your, if you're in southern Pennsylvania, I do expect your snow to probably start around 11, 12 o'clock tonight. And I do expect these to pick up in the nighttime hours, and then this by 3 in the morning. Looking more unlikely that the snow, if you're in eastern Pennsylvania, will start around 2, 3 in the morning, even 4 in the morning. I've been really watching it on some of the radar here. By the way, you guys, I know this is off topic. Not really, but it is. It is -1 degrees outside right now in my area, it feels like. So it is cold for your daytime high. And then, according to the future radar, it says about 3 to 3:30 in the morning. Like I said, even up to potentially 4 o'clock. And your banding of snow just continues to slam through. All right. And then we do see these snow bands to continue. This is about 10 a.m. And then this is about your 2 p.m. I think this is when the heaviest of the thump of the snow is going to be anywhere from 8 in the morning to potentially 5 in the afternoon before the herd does try and mix with some freezing rain, some sleet, wintry mix type deal here as the winter's trying to kick off. This is your low. Remember, you're getting your low developing here. This is a pretty strong low here, 1,001 millibars. So we're going to have some competing on the HER. I'm waiting for the 18Z. I'm wondering if they're going to push it up north and then that snow continues instead. And then you're talking about some leftover freezing rain to develop. According to the HER model on total snow accumulations here, I'm just going into into the 12Z here. Look at that. You're talking about in the Lehigh Valley up to maybe 15 inches. Philadelphia, 13, 12 inches. New Jersey, 14 inches. 10, Long Island even up to that much. Up into upstate New York, 22 inches. Boston, 20 inches. Upstate Massachusetts, up to 20 inches. And then when we take a look at your freezing rain, this is a little bit worrying also. Let me go into these regions here. Look at that, you guys. Now some of this freezing rain data gets, up to 1/10 of an inch into southern Connecticut, into these areas here on the latest HER. This is about, in the darkest color, is about about a trace to 1/10 of an inch. And the brighter blue is about 1/10 of an inch to 0.15. And then in the darker here is about 2/10 to 3/10. And then some of these areas even 3/10 to 4/10 of an inch of ice. According to the HER, this was the last model. I'm really keeping an eye on this because when we take a look at 6Z compared to this had a pretty big jump here. And a lot of the 12Z model data has been dealing with a bigger jump in this scenario. And that's why I'm really concerned about the 18Z. This is also going to bring very heavy sleet, 1 to 2 inches of sleet where you see the sleet the most. So keep that in mind, okay? When we take a look at other models here, this is the RAP model, likes the idea of that very heavy snow. You get our 2 development lows. You got 1 back in the Appalachian Mountains. You got 1 off the coast. You got your freezing rain, your wintry mix, heavy snow, thump here taking place. And then this continues to move north. This gets to about the I-78 and then just on south of that wintry mix with that freezing rain and stuff. But it also shows some significant, freezing rain in some spots. It brings, your 1/10 of an inch, probably about up to the Lehigh Valley, into these areas where I'm circling right here. About 0.5 to 0.10. That's 1/10 of an inch. And then in the Philly area, 2/10 of an inch, up to 3/10 of an inch, even into central New Jersey, 1 to 2/10 of an inch. Going to be very crucial on what's happening in tomorrow's data here on what we see here. And when we're taking a look at the freezing rain also, and we take a look at the 9Z, look at that. And then take a look at the latest 15Z. You're really adding up those freezing rain. Hello, Weather Kingdom. Nice to see you. I'm glad to see you. I hope you guys are doing good. This is going to be some significant freezing rain, okay? When we take a look at the NAM with the freezing rain events, the NAM is a bit aggressive, I think. But it gets it up to, just south of Allentown, southern New Jersey, New York City, southern Connecticut here. And you see this nose pocket? You're talking about, 1/10 of an inch all the way up to 3 to even 4/10 of an inch possible out of the NAM model here, okay? So keep that in mind. I am trying to keep everybody safe here. This is going to take some time to fin out. 18Z data is going to be very important, and the night data is going to be also very important to take a place here. So you're going to have to give me a little bit here on some of the data that I am trying to read here for you guys. All right, so this is the NAM model. It really likes to get Philly around 1/2 an inch of ice. That's why I really want to keep an eye on this, because when we take a look at the 6Z, okay. Okay, that kind of froze up here. Let's take a look at the NAM-NIST model. All right. I'm kind of looking at this. Saying flakes right there. Wow, look at that. Major storm. Steady and ready. Oh, this is the European model, the ratios. The Euro model really likes the upper end. This is why I want to keep an eye on here. It still says most of Long Island, New York, just south in these regions here, you still get 10 to 12 inches, okay? This is out of the Euro model. This is about 10 to 12 inches, okay? Just to the north of here is about 12 to 18 inches, okay? This is still possible to overdo in some spots. And, okay, I see your message about your snowfall forecast map. I'll keep an eye on that. Very important. Then in these areas up here, up to maybe 2 feet of snow is possible. So keep that in mind. So Euro is holding steady on the 12Z. That's actually really good there. And then 1 hour lineup, peep the tree on top left and eat it down, getting ready. Yeah, look at this, you guys. A very well done video. Look at this freezing rain coming down here. And look at the weight of the freezing rain on these trees here. This is freezing rain, a little bit of wind here. Look at the trees starting to weigh down now in Missouri. This is in the last 1 hour time lapse of freezing rain. Look at that. Some of the heavy freezing rain. Look at that. Really nasty stuff here. And even some mixture of snow and stuff. So, they're getting ready for the catastrophic. This is in Monroe, Louisiana. Okay? That's going to be very important to watch out there. So a devastating ice storm. This is by a good tweak here. Ice storm is also expected for the mid-Atlantic and down here. Heavy snowfall rates will make travel nearly impossible. So look at this. Yeah, see, this is another very important thing here. 2 to 3 inches in our snowfall rates. Okay. Very important here. He does talk about here 2 to 3 inches in hour rates tomorrow early afternoon. So that's going to be some very, very heavy snowfall rates right there. About 3 to 5 inches of snow still snowing there. RAP model. That's going to be some very intense information coming out of there. This is the NAM 3KM model here of the freezing rain. Look at that. Freezing rain gets all the way up to southern Pennsylvania here. Just south of Allentown, into New York, into these areas. 1/10 to even 3/10 of an inch of ice. So keep this in mind. And then, I don't know why. I don't know why those models have not updated. This is your... let me take a look at some of these other models on Pivotal Weather, because I want to show you guys all the scenarios out of this, okay? Keep this in mind. We have a lot of models here. This is the HERF. We're going to just take a look at a lot of these total freezing rain accumulations here out of the model. Look at this model. This is all the possibilities. Look at that. Just in the central New Jersey, New York, 1 to 3 inches, 1 to 3/10 of an inch of ice right here. Look at that. 3/10. Some of these a little bit up to a quarter. This is why I'm really watching out for the Philly region. So if you're in Philadelphia, please watch out. Let's take a look at another model. This is another model that I'm going to like to take a look at. A little bit more south. It likes the idea a little bit more south. And it likes to bring a little bit more of a freezing rain up to a 1/2 inch of freezing rain in spots. And then further down here. Let's take a look at the HERF V3 here on the ice. It likes the idea about south, a little bit lighter, more like 1 to 2/10 of an inch, holding steady down here with the mixing line. Okay? And then the ARFIS model. This is about to be some interesting model. It likes to bring the freezing rain much higher. It brings in New York, it brings up to almost a 1/2 inch, a quarter of an inch, into the Mount Poconos, up to a 1/10 of an inch, Lehigh Valley, Allentown, a quarter of an inch, Philadelphia, even a quarter of an inch. Some dangerous ice on this one, on the ARFIS model. This is another model. We're just going to keep rolling it in through here with the total accumulations. This model likes the freezing rain even more higher. You're talking about a quarter of an inch all the way up to Mount Pocono. You're talking about a widespread quarter of an inch. Some of these models, you know, take them with a grain of salt. But I'm just showing you the variety of the model data. This one really likes the heavier snowfall, the heavier rainfall just to the south here, up to a 1/2 inch into the Lehigh Valley. So there's going to be some mixing. Where does this set up? All depends. Okay. And then the HDBS model with the freezing rain here likes to keep that freezing rain into the Philly area and on south. Okay. The RDPS hasn't updated. I don't know what happened to the model. All right, let me quickly go into here.